Well, one man who's done it, we haven't mentioned much today, is Alejandro Valverde, Sean. He's got into this group, and that's good for him because he didn't start too far down, really, 30 seconds or so on the GC this morning, and he's the sort of rider who could do very well later in the week.
Yes, he is a danger man for later in the week because with these finishes, mountaintop finishes, that's where he is a real specialist, and he's done a good job in here to be up here today. The 30 seconds, you know, that's still it's still a good position to be in, and I think the terrain will present the opportunities for him later in the week.
Yep, there are going to be a bunch of riders here who are not going to contest anything at the end of today in the sprint. Westra is probably one of them. Valverde is possibly another, although they'll try and keep themselves up. They don't want to lose too many seconds. Wiggins is another, Leipheimer. But there will be others like Radvar, Gavazzi, Degenkolb, Bonin, who really want to go for this today. Four kilometers to go. A group of 21 riders at the head of this race, and I think Westra is going to go for this on the left-hand side of the road, is he? It's his sort of finish. Yep, here we go. Wait for it. Away he goes. He's going to try and ride off the front. Lua Westra. And immediately Chavanel responds, trying to get onto the wheel. He's not going to get away from that one. Chavanel quickly onto that. He's got Tom Bonin, his sprint captain, behind him, and he's not going to let Westra get away. Westra should just knock it off a bit now. You could have written that script as well, Sean, couldn't you? Westra is the man who's always going in that sort of attack. Yes,
and you could see it coming. He was, you know, almost at the front of the group and putting his hand up and saying, well, I'm going to go in the attack, guys, follow me here, because the way he went about it there, he should have got a bit more speed and came from behind that bit faster, because Chavanel didn't have any real difficulty just latching onto his wheel and closing him down immediately.
I think if there were as a lesser gap as they go under the 3 kilometre to go marker, I think if there was less of a gap between themselves and the second group on the road, the bonus seconds would count for a lot today, Sean, but I'm not sure they're going to be too worried about that, the big favourites today. There are certain riders here waiting for the sprint, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Sepp van Mark doesn't have a go, knowing that he's had a bit of a turn of speed against Bonin. There's also Anthony Ravard in this group. Tom Bonin is a good sprinter. And John Degenkolb. Degenkolb and Bonin are going to be the two big favourites for this one. And Rohath as well. I wouldn't discount him. He's pretty good in this sort of foul weather. Doesn't mind it at all. Coming up towards the 2 kilometre to go marker. Chavanel's done a good job here. He reacted very quickly there to shut down Westra. I have to say Westra didn't go super hard. If he had done, as he can do sometimes, he might have had a bit more trouble, but he was alert to the danger, Sean. Yes,
very much. He see it coming. I think a lot of the riders see that Westra was going to go in the attack, and Westra's the sort of guy as well. He's not that explosive, so he needs to, you know, attack a bit further back, get a bit more speed, and you know, come by the guys at a faster rate. Chavanel closed him down with relative ease. The other one, I suppose, is Gavazzi. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in the sprint, because he's a one here who is, you know, capable of throwing up a good sprint in a small group. I think he could be one of the danger men as well, but it looks like Omega Pharma Quick-Step wants to keep it together, and Chavanel is sacrificing his chances now and continuing to set the pace in the front, keep it high, and that will, you know, prevent any attacks coming from one or two riders trying to get away here in this final kilometre.
Yeah, Gavazzi is a good shout, really. We mentioned him as being a good sprinter. Bonin. So really, let's just run down the sprint possibles here. We've got Anthony Ravard in the middle of your shot there, number 77 from AG to our Le Mondial. Tom Bonin, of course, from Omega Pharma Quick-Step, who it is Chavanel is doing the work for to drag them all to the line. John Degenkolb right at the back, 2:14 there, that sort of big, round-chested, great, very stocky sprinter. Under the 1 kilometre to go, Banner, go our 21 men. Taylor Phinney is right at the back at the moment. I wonder if he's going to take a flyer. A little bit too far back with a big group. It's the sort of thing he could do, and I wonder if anybody has got that in mind here. They'll have to do it very soon on the exit to this corner, Sean, because at the moment they're leading the sprinters in for a perfect finish.
Yes, well, it's going to get more and more difficult now because they are really just starting to wind up the sprint. So for some guy to go it alone here, he's going to, have to go real fast.
Now somebody's going real fast off the front. It's impossible to tell who it is at the moment.
Garmin.
Is it Van Mark? Looks a little bit tall for Van Mark. Maybe it's Clear who's gone into the final corners of this stage. You've got to be very careful all getting around here. They're going to hunt him down, and some riders with 500 meters to go just being tailed off the back. Bonen wants this one. Rohath is lying third spot at the moment for this one. Coming around the outside looks like Thomas. Thomas being given a head here to have a go. Bonen's leading them out. Degenkolb on the left-hand side. Bonen in the middle. Rohath is just in the middle of the two of them. And Taylor Finney on the far right-hand side. Degenkolb and Tom Bonen. They're really driving for the line as Rohath tries to come through in the second spot. I think he gets it. Bonen gets the win. And it's very close between Degenkolb and Rohath for second. Possibly just done Degenkolb. But that was a long, very slightly uphill sprint, and that was just a gritted teeth sprint, Sean. There was nothing really super fast about that one in terms of like sticking into top gear and go. There was grinding it out towards the end.
Yes, it was a grind to get to the line, and we could see Degenkolb there. He took it up, but just not as impressive as we've seen him in some of the other big sprints where he comes in at a very fast race with a full bunch of riders. And Bonen proving there to be the strongest. It looked like that Rojas maybe was the second one, second on the stage, but Bonen, he was quite strong there, as we can see there in that final 50-80 meters.
Yeah, I think Rojas got that. Yep, Rojas does get it. It was coming at him quite hard, but he wasn't making any impression on Tom Bonen. So Bonen gets the win. He'll be pleased with that and all that hard work that was done by Nicolas Mace looking after him, and by Sylvain Chavanel shutting down the gaps and doing his job superbly well. Bonen takes the win and the 10 bonus seconds. Ahead of Degenkolb and ahead of Rojas, and Degenkolb will get 4 and 2 respectively. And of course, Bonen will inherit the points jersey. Wiggins finishing safely in the group, and I don't think there was any gap between him and Leipheimer, so Wiggins it will be in yellow tonight in this lead of Paris-Nice. And what a day it's been for some of the favourites. They've just missed it completely, totally missed it. No Luis Leon Sanchez, no Jerome Coppel, no Lemervel in this group at all. Menchov missed out. Federigo, we haven't seen hide nor hair of De Gent. Gerrans we thought was in the front group at one time, but turned out to be the second group. Kunigo, Brakovic, Taramai. Good ride by TJ Van Garderen to get into the front group. This is group 2 on the road, and they'd lost 2:13 or 14. Now they've sort of settled back and lost a few more seconds, Sean.
Yes, 2:28, 2:29, as we can see a lot of the favourites coming in there.
And the yellow jersey as well, coming
yes,
over the line.
The yellow jersey in that group was, a huge amount of time lost, and in the first stage it's a disaster for some of those riders with general classification in mind starting out as Paris-Nice.
Le temps du vainqueur, 4 heures, 22 minutes et 15 secondes au niveau du classement.
Bonen takes the win. Rohath comes through to take second spot as we look down at Orléans Cathedral. Bonen, Rohath, Degenkolb. Sepp Van Mark took fourth, so he did get up there. Gavazzi, as you said, Sean Vicioso, also a good sprinter. Montfort, Taylor Finney came right from the back. Alejandro Valverde and Geraint Thomas 10th in the end. Thomas gave it a bit of a dig, but it was a bit too far out, and I think he just realised he wasn't going to get up past, so he backed off a little bit in the end. That's the top 10, so Bonen gets his stage win. That's made his Paris-Nice already, Sean.
Yes, it's a good start to Paris-Nice, and he's very much up there with a chance of getting into the race leader position as we go on in this race, because tomorrow again he's going to be at, I think, 8 seconds down on Bradley Wiggins, and if he can get up again tomorrow in some of the intermediate sprints and also the final sprint for the stage victory, we could see him, you know, moving into race leadership for a day or for a number of days.
Here we are looking back. This is the final kilometre run in. It was quite a tight, difficult little roundabout. The entry to it was quite difficult, and it knocked a bit of the stuffing out of some of the riders coming into it. Long, hard day in the saddle today. Not a greatly long stage, 185.5 kilometres, but really it was all about the weather conditions today. And I think it was Sepp van Mark who went for the long one here. That was a good move. Maybe he felt that he didn't quite have the sprint in him, but I tell you what, he should have carried a bit more speed around that corner if he felt he could have, because that's when he lost out the ground. He was a little bit nervy on the brakes, and that allowed people to get within, and it was clear who had gone for that. It was allowed him to get within 10 bike lengths for them. Possibly Claire was even thinking that Sepp van Mark would be behind him, but he wasn't. You could see Thomas trying to come around the outside and thinking, no, I haven't got this one. Haven't got enough in the legs here. As Bonan started to go, he looks across Thomas, still giving it everything at this point, and then thinks, no. There we are. Little shake of the head as they grind it out to the line. That one, Bonan ahead of Rojas and Degenkolb.